Hey guys, this is Winnie, and welcome back to another episode of Spastic Chatter. If this is your first Spastic Chatter episode, Spastic Chatter is a platform meant to feature those in the cerebral palsy community, and I get together weekly with individuals with CP to have like myself, to have uncensored chat. I'm getting choked on my words about what it's like living with this type of disability. And for this week, I have Maddie, and I'm excited because for those of you watching that do not know, October is the National Disability Employment Awareness Month, and Maddie has a job or career or whatever you want to, however you want to call it, in finance. So I thought it would be the perfect topic to talk about. So with that, I'm gonna let Maddie introduce herself, and we will get on to the conversation. So take it away.
Thank you so much, Whitney, and I'm grateful to be here today. My name is Maddie Thomas. I am 24 years old, and I live in California. I am an accounting associate, social media marketer, and also an active blogger.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking at my notes. So with every episode of Spastic Chatter, I kind of always take it back to the beginning of like childhood, because if you search the word spastic, if you search the word cerebral palsy, all that comes up on Google is that it's a childhood disability. And what people don't realize is those children grow up to be adults. So just to put everyone's curiosity mind at ease, can you describe your childhood growing up with CP? Because I know it's probably just like everyone else's childhood.
Absolutely. Thank you, Whitney. So going back to my childhood and going all the way back to the beginning, I had a delayed delivery, and it caused a lack of oxygen in the brain. And I was diagnosed with cerebral palsy from birth, and it affects my speech, balance, spasticity, and also other fine motor functions. I also went to weekly physical, occupational, and speech therapies. So my CP has different counterparts. I can do most things, but I either modify or ask for assistance from others. I can walk, hike, climb stairs, but at my own pace. And you can only understand my speech after a while or spending a lot of time with me. I type my responses on my phone or via Zoom chat to communicate with new people or people who may not be aware of my disability. And it almost as an act of my voice. So I have spasticity, so I have to focus on how to control it while doing various tasks. And then also looking back to my childhood, I had a great childhood up to 8 years old. I was close to all of my relatives and peers. I traveled and also got to do a lot of gatherings. Between ages 8 to 15 years old, most people drifted away from me, and I felt isolated and excluded. People with disabilities experience social barriers because people without disabilities are scared to communicate with them. It took me a while to learn how to express myself, and people did not let me in. I ended up finding people who naturally accepted me, and I could be myself with them. I also found my best friends during my last 2 years of high school and in college through being involved on campus. And we wanted to be in each other's lives as soon as we possibly could, and basically as soon as we met. They observed how I handled situations with my disabilities, and they knew that the nature of my disabilities before we started hanging out. They were super easygoing, really supportive, patient, understanding, and sincere. We overcome challenges together and push each other to be our best.
Awesome. I can kind of relate to you because I didn't I didn't come into my own about like I didn't become like secure in my disability until later and later on in like my later high school and early college years, and like that's when I really found that core group of friends like they accept me for who I am. I didn't have to hide anything or be ashamed. So I can totally relate to what you just said. Going on to the next question, which you kind of briefly answered. Can you describe your? Can you describe? Oh, I had a typo on this. Can you describe your education journey, elementary through higher ed?
Absolutely. Thank you, Whitney. Great question. Yes. So basically, from elementary to high school, I grew up in a rich neighborhood. There was so much pressure, external pressures coming from my environment. And even though I only have physical disabilities, many educators held me back. So I struggled academically and socially because most people doubted and questioned my capabilities. Studying also took a lot of energy, so my grades were not as good, and I spent double the amount of time staying in mainstream classes. Looking back to my sophomore year of high school, I did not want doubts to hold me back anymore, and I got a peer tutor to improve my grades and work towards my goal to go to a four-year university. So I graduated from a small private university that has a specialized way of learning. And I also received my degree pretty quickly. It made me a well-rounded person, and I was well supported. That college also gave me the space to teach students to accept people with disabilities. And I came to campus where people were unaware of disabilities as well. So it helped me because there were no stereotypes of me. Students were open about getting to know me for who I am. My accommodations were to have a note taker, extra time, and separate rooms to take exams, access to speech programs, to read textbooks out loud, and for communication, which allowed, and I was also allowed to use my phone in classes as well. So my lifestyle changed in college, and I was getting good grades and had a social life. And I felt that I belonged in this space, mainly because most of the students came from diverse backgrounds and we had similar goals.
That's very cool. It sounds like your education journey was like full of perseverance and I love that. So that's very awesome. So the next question on the list was, like I mentioned earlier in the episode, October is National Disability Employment Awareness Month. So what does that mean to you?
Absolutely, Whitney. And so National Disability Employment Awareness Month means companies should focus on employees' abilities and guiding them to their full potential. I fell in love with working because my capabilities are highlighted daily. I work for a university and nonprofit that helps people with disabilities. Both companies keep giving me extra responsibilities because they can trust and rely on me. And at one point, I worked 48 hours a week, like more than the 40-hour work week between my two jobs. My coworkers enjoy working with me as well, and we have great relationships with one another. My coworkers, our fellow coworkers, say that I am dedicated, efficient, hardworking, positive, and smart. I easily adapt to situations, and I am a quick learner. They like that I am very helpful and easy to talk to as well. So in June, I received my annual review, and my boss said, I am eager to learn, take on new tasks easily, and also meet deadlines. If any conflict in the office, he said, I use logic and reason to hear both sides and can figure out a win-win situation. So when employers have an inclusive workplace, they will hire and embrace people with disabilities.
Awesome, Maddie. We have a lot in common because I also work for a disability led organization. So like we have a lot in common. So my next question was, what made you want to get into accounting or finance? I didn't know how to word it because I'm kind of I'm kind of ignorant when it comes to that kind of stuff because I have no idea the finance world.
Yeah, good question, Whitney. And yeah, right, we'll play it as we go. But basically, I chose to do accounting because I enjoy business and I really love math. And so as a kid, I always loved to go shopping, favorite hobby. It taught me to, calculate sales, budget, and also make decisions about buying something. I also wanted a profession where I could use technology in my work. So I made the right decision because working in accounting for 4 years has taught me how to be responsible, focused, accurate, and solve problems. Accounting is a great career because it allows growth within your profession, and every day is a learning process, and I have to manage my responsibilities. I also enjoy it because when a company can rely on me as well. So I pay bills, invoice customers, balance bank accounts, record entries and revenues, and help employees and customers. So basically my responsibility or my profession, I am an accounting associate and social media marketer at a nonprofit that helps people with disabilities find jobs. The social media experience helps me promote disability awareness through my perspective. And I created my blog on Instagram. It's Maddie, MADDY_Thomas, THOMAS_ARB. And my website is https://ability-resilient-balance-mt.com and dash again. So I have physical disabilities, and I'm intelligent, stylish, outgoing, athletic, and funny. I advise people with disabilities and provide awareness to people with individual differences to accept them. And we all live in the same world, and we need to understand each other. We should have confidence in who we are.
Awesome. I love all your answers. They're so thorough. Okay, so my next question was, have you ever had someone doubt your capabilities in the workplace? And if so, how did you deal with this?
Great question, Whitney. So with having a disability, there's always discrimination towards me. Most people use stereotypes in how they treat me, and I have been applying for jobs for 3 years, and companies cannot look past my disability and give me a chance on what I actually can do. Even when I started, university, there were many obstacles. My first supervisor did not have much time to work as a team with me and was too fixated on her work. So I couldn't handwrite and speak to customers and didn't go at a fast pace. She focused on my weaknesses and not on my strengths. And so for the first 8 months, I didn't like going to work. As time went on, I asked her to teach me more tasks to assist her. She was very hesitant at first, and we disagreed, but I showed her what I can do. I did not receive the appropriate onboarding period, and I had to adjust to my new job quickly. I did not have the same support and training I needed, and that was because the department was short-staffed at the moment. I also discussed this with my HR manager about the situation, and also highlighted my knowledge and skills that would be beneficial for my department. After the discussion, my duties were adjusted. I was able to utilize my skills and experience and support my department and my fellow colleagues. And from that experience, I will be straightforward and figure out a way to work better together from the beginning. I also learned that I should not hide my skills and accept an unfavorable situation. I needed to communicate my skills and vocalize the areas for more training. Communication did not exist in my department, but I made a difference when my new supervisor changed in the organization.
That's awesome. I love how you advocated for yourself in your workplace, because so many people with disabilities will just take it because they're happy to have a job. So like they'll just take whatever it's coming their way because hey, they're employed. So, but I love that you advocated for yourself and made sure that you were happy in your situation. So like, kudos to you for that. Like,
Thank you, Whitney.
do you have any advice for employers about hiring people with disabilities?
Oh, absolutely. So hiring people with disabilities is a unique process. Employers have to evaluate their strengths and also have an open mind. Do not make conclusions about candidates with disabilities by their first impressions. People with the same disabilities do not mean they have the same characteristics. Employers should handle each person and situation individually. Employees who have disabilities use creativity to achieve goals, and it benefits the company by having a different perspective. So supervisors, HR, and employees should learn how to interact with people, with employees, to be patient when talking with people with disabilities. Employers should not let fear lower or limit their expectations of employees with disabilities. Limited expectations restricts growth. It does not matter if employees have disabilities or not, because everyone should achieve their professional goals.
That's awesome. How you said limited expectations. You can't grow from limited expectations. I love how you worded that, and I probably just butchered it, but that's how I am. So yes, I love that. So, do you have any advice for job seekers with disabilities?
Yes. So my advice for job seekers with disabilities is to prepare for an interview and don't get discouraged if you don't get hired. The interviewer may not be exposed to people with disabilities, and they might have an unconscious bias towards you. With my cerebral palsy or CP, I have to be detail-oriented and plan out everything I do to function safely and efficiently. So I transfer the mindset in accounting and make me have a good career. Most employers don't see it that way until you find the ones who does. And so you need to be patient to find the job. And if an employer rejects you, think of it as losing the opportunity to hire a great employee. Use the time to educate and get certified in your field for better chances to get hired. You can also, while entering the workforce with a disability can be challenging. It will take time to feel comfortable and learn your tasks and how to work with others. Also, you have to adapt your workstation and job responsibilities so you can be efficient and comfortable in your job. And people with disabilities should form great relationships with their supervisor and HR personnel almost immediately, because they will help advocate for better acceptance of diversity in your workforce.
That's awesome. And I would just like to add on to what you said. Like you, like myself included, I went to like numerous job interviews. Like I can't even count how many, because I feel like because I'm in a power wheelchair, and it's hard for me to talk, to get out all my words. And I look funny when I talk. So like people like, I strain when I talk. So I can see it on their face when it's hard for them to understand me, like, and that makes me not want to talk. So like I don't, like, I'm kind of getting off on a soapbox, but to bring it back to my point, I kind of got discouraged with the whole interview process. So what I did is I started volunteering, and that volunteer led to a paid position. And now I'm the most senior person at my job. And granted, that didn't come overnight. Like I'm in my 30s, so it took a while. Like you said, like you kind of like started your answer, like getting a career or getting a job. It's not like it's all about perseverance and like being consistent and like not giving up however cliche that might sound. Yes. Let me get moving on to the next question. I think it's our last question. Maddie, do you have any last words? And where can people follow you on social media?
Yeah, so absolutely. So some last words that I would say is, again, since with the awareness this month, I encourage both people with disabilities and employers to really step forward at the forefront to help people with disabilities in the workforce or in the workplace. And in terms of where you can engage with me on social media, again, I'm on Instagram, and my account or my blog account is Maddie. So it's MADDY _Thomas, THOMAS _ARB. And then my website for my blog is Ability Resilient Balance, which is the ARB in the Instagram name. And that website is found at https://ability-resilient-balance-mt.com. And you can connect with me over my blog, check out my posts, and feel free to reach out to me with any questions or advice.
Awesome. And all of Maddie's information will be linked in the description so you can check her out. And thank you, Maddie, for agreeing to be a guest on Spastic Chatter. I really enjoyed this conversation. It was so thought-provoking and it was awesome. If you're watching this episode and you want to be on a guest on Spastic Chatter, feel free to comment wherever you see this video. Or if you want to be more formal, there is a form in the description that you can fill out, but you don't have to. You can just comment wherever you see this video, and check back next week for another episode of Spastic Chatter. Thanks. Bye.
Bye, everyone.